What's up, everybody? Another week, another episode of AEW Dynamite here on December 9th of the year 2020. How are you doing today?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Yourself?
Same old as always, Less than a month in 2020.
What a year it's been.
Yeah. Hopefully a better 2021. We're getting a vaccine. We're getting a new president. We're getting...
Yeah.
So things are looking up or down, depending on your perspective of things. Anyway, this is not one of those shows. This is a show about professional wrestling. So let's start it off. What did you think of the show overall?
I'm not a fan of this show.
Not a fan.
It wasn't so much the matches. It was just the way a lot of things played out.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess we'll get into that as we go into the recap.
There were a lot of head scratchers for me, but overall, I'm not too pissed off about this one. Although there was a couple things that were confusing and kind of dumb for me. Nothing that really made me not want to watch next week. So to say, like when something really dumb happened, it's like, you know what, I don't want to watch next week. But
like last week,
like last week. First of all, let's address the situation. I did not watch Impact yesterday. Did you?
I actually ended up watching it on YouTube. So yes, I did.
You did? You watched the whole show or just the part with the AEW champion?
I really skimmed through the show because, you can just literally click on where you want the video to be on YouTube. So I watched maybe 10 minutes of the wrestling. The wrestling was fine. I don't know who these guys are, just to see some of the highlights, see some of the spots. I mainly watched the Kenny Omega interview. That's 90% of what I watched. And that was about 20 minutes.
Was there anything really worthwhile on the Kenny Omega interview?
Not so much. They kind of reiterated what they talked about in AEW Dynamite, which you can get into. But it was basically just the fact that they've been planning this for a long time. Callis and Omega, have at least this is the second time they talked about it on AEW. So Impact, they said they pretty much the same thing.
Like, if they were planning it, why didn't they just make him the first AEW champion?
Yeah, I get it. You're right.
I get it. It's pro wrestling. You gotta let some shit slide, right? But it's like, if you were planning this all along, why didn't you just make him the first champion?
But it was the most elaborate plan in the history of, pro wrestling. Again, like we talked about last week, where it's like, did you really plan this? Because there must have been a lot of stuff that had to go right. I mean, they went back far. They were talking about all the championships he won and all these other,
this has been planning since Kenny was 10 years old.
Yeah. It's like, we planned it in Japan. We planned it in Mexico. We've been doing this. And it's like, really? This is all part of the plan? That's insane. But
this is almost as elaborate as Mom and Pop's plan to establish goodwill for 50 years just to steal Jerry Seinfeld's shoes. But I hope you don't mind. I want to give a quick shout out to something not AEW, in fact, from WWE NXT. And one of a great callback moments was when it was a spoiler for NXT NXT TakeOver this past Sundays, when it was revealed that one of the Scream killers was Austin Theory in the Johnny Gargano North American title win. And he says, "It was me, Austin. It was me all along, Austin." So that was just spectacular. Shout outs to Austin Theory. That was great. There's one of the that's why I watch pro wrestling, for the fun. That was definitely something really fun.
It's great when the wrestlers are in on it,
Yeah.
Like, they don't take themselves too seriously. They know what they're in. I mean, they're great athletes, don't get me wrong, but when they know the fact that they're there for entertainment as well as their athletic ability, it's great that they can embrace that. So I saw that clip you sent. It was great. It was awesome. Good callback.
Yeah. So let's get it on. AEW Dynamite, December 9, 2020. And we're starting off with the Young Bucks versus the Hybrid 2. And they show last week when the Hybrid 2 jacked them while the Acclaim were rapping about the Young Bucks' dicks. But we've got the Young Bucks little inset promo here. The Young Bucks are talking, and they invite TH2 to a super kick party. And Alex Marvez asks him about Kenny. The Young Bucks say they haven't seen or talked to them in a week, and I didn't watch Being the Elite, but I'm suspecting that's not true. Anyway, how did you like this match?
This is my match of the night, honestly. I thought both teams did really well. I thought they kept pace with each other. There was a couple missed spots. It's to be expected, especially when you're going at such a fast pace. But I thought it showcased the hybrid too and what they were capable of, and they kept up with the Young Bucks, not looking like they were completely outclassed or not, in the same league as them. Yeah. I honestly thought that they were going to win, and I honestly kind of wanted them to win, but yeah, that's neither here nor there. I was surprised that Angelico kicked out of a stereo super kick, so that gave him a little. A little bit more that they were not just some jobbers that were going to lose to the first big move that the Young Bucks did. I thought it was a great match. Yeah.
Would I give this match of the night? Let me take a quick gander. No, I'm going to give it to Abaddon. I'm not kidding. Abaddon is the best. I was going to say the man, but Becky Lynch is the man. Abaddon, baby. But there was one thing I didn't like about this match, but we'll get to it in due time. So this match was pretty much all action. TH2 sneaks into the ring and attacks the Bucks while they're being introduced. There's a bunch of high flying. There's a fight to the outside. The Bucks reverse. They hit double spears on the outside. Then Matt does a diving drop kick. Nick does a tope con hilo. So it's mostly the Bucks in control in the beginning of the match. Eventually TH2 takes control, isolate Matt. An assisted 450 gets a 2. Nick gets finally Matt tags in Nick. He goes wild. Over the top X Factor by Nick on Angelico for 2. Matt Jackson powerbombs Jax Evans from the apron onto the Acclaimed, who are in the crowd. And I was just like, ugh! This means the Acclaimed are going to get involved in this match. But they never did. So, risky business. Bucks hit risky business for 2 on Angelico. They hit did you see this? They hit a Doomsday device on the ramp onto Jack Evans, and Jack Evans lands right on his head. Like, I thought he broke his neck or worse.
I was shocked. That did not look like it was. I don't know. That couldn't have gone like it should have.
He fell right on his head, and I was like, "Oh my god, this guy just broke his neck on national TV." But apparently not, because he got up and kept wrestling. Like you mentioned before, the Bucks hit a double super kick. Angelico kicks out. They go for more bang for your buck, but Angelico gets the knees up when on Nick, and Matt lands on his feet during the moonsault, but he lands on his bad knee. And this is the part that I didn't like, because after that, we all know that Matt has a partially torn ACL. He's injured knee. He's been selling it for a while. He's been selling it from even before the FTR match. And Angelico hits his Navarro death roll submission. And Matt Jackson is in this hold for like
5 minutes. I mean, it's a long time.
A long time. Long enough to the point where he should have tapped out. Because, I mean, this is like T2's finisher, kind of. Right?
That's a good point. You're right. He was in that hold for a very long time.
He's got an injured knee, and he was in this hold for a really, really long time. So I thought he should have tapped out there, and TH2 should have got the win. But he didn't. Nick Jackson, and Nick didn't break it up because he had eaten a 450 by Jack onto the outside. But Nick recovers. He comes back. He dodges Jack. He hits a swanton onto Angelico while Angelico just watches him do it while he's still in the Navarro Deathlock. They go for the Meltzer driver. Jack Evans interrupts it. They go for a flip. Bucks catch him, and they hit the Indie Taker off from the inside to the outside of the ring onto Jack Evans. So again, poor Jack Evans lands right on his head from the Doomsday device, and now the Indie Taker. They hit a double super kick on Angelico while he's kneeling, and then they hit a BTE trigger. Nick covers for the 3 count, and the Young Bucks take this one. So yeah, this was a good match. This was all action, total non-stop action, so to say. The Acclaim jump up, and like they're gonna interfere after the match. Gentlemen, that they don't interfere during the match. But then who should come out but SCU, Frankie Kazarian, and Christopher Daniels come out to block them. So,
do we really need more tag teams? I just had to say that. I'm sorry. I mean, come on, man. Like, I don't know anything about these guys other than what they did last week and what I guess they were on Dynamite this week. So that's twice now. I haven't seen them wrestle. I'm sure they're good because they've been signed, I guess, to some kind of deal. But come on, we've been talking about this for ages. Do we really need more tag teams? We don't. I mean, there's one belt and there's probably 20 teams now. This is starting to become like, like Major League Baseball or NFL, like 30 teams chasing for one belt.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Especially
and there's not enough time. Yeah.
If it was like something like FTR, where it was like the best damn tag team in the world, all of a sudden became available, then yeah, but the Acclaimed?
Yeah, I know. Look, they signed Top Flight, which are great. I mean, those kids are great. They're going to be an awesome tag team. I have nothing against them. And I totally understand why AEW wants to get in on that train early so that they can lock them in. But again, like, that's another tag team they have to add to the mix, along with these guys, like twice in 1 month.
Yeah. What's up, EG? How you doing? So, yeah, like, I don't want to rag on the Acclaimed or anything because they've been around 2 weeks and I haven't really seen them, but AEW did not debut them very well.
No, yeah.
I mean, Top Flight came out and they had that match with the Young Bucks, and we were like, holy crap, who are these guys? Put them on TV more. But the Acclaim, the way they debuted them last week, I was like, get these guys out of here. I don't want to see them anymore. I don't want to rag on them because I don't know, they might be really good, but AEW has done a piss poor job of their
presenting them. Yeah,
if
that's
you
true.
ask me. I don't mean to try to make it personal that I think they suck or anything.
We really need another TV, AEW really needs another hour to showcase these guys, or another 2 hours. And I'm not talking about Dark. They need another show if these tag teams are going to be taken seriously.
So we've got MJF talking, and he hates people who insult the business, like people who stick their hands in the pockets and kick people in slow motion. And then he screams he's going to beat him because he's going to beat Orange Cassidy because he's better, and Orange Cassidy knows it. So we've got the lineup for tonight. We've got MJF versus Orange Cassidy for the Diamond Ring. We've got the Inner Circle Ultimatum. We've got Abaddon in action. Dustin Rhodes versus 10. FTR versus Varsity Blues. Varsity Blondes. Varsity Blondes, yeah. Lance Archer and the Lucha Bros against Eddie Kingston and the Boys. We're going to hear from Kenny Omega, and Shivani speaks with Sting. But up next, we've got our weekly Darby Allin video, and he's doing some Rorschach painting thingies. And the first one's Ricky Stark, and he sees a wolf in sheep's clothing. And the next one, he sees a snake in the grass, and it's Will Hobbs. Powerhouse Hobbs. And the next one is, he sees a puppet. It's Brian Cage, but he says that he's the number one contender, and he's been trying to end Darby's career ever since he showed up in AEW. But Darby says, I've dealt with shit like this my whole life. So he wants Brian Cage, and it's going to be Brian Cage versus Darby Allin for the TNT Championship. And then they show him a picture which looks kind of like Sting, and then he just chuckles. So now we've got everybody's favorite hero, Cody, in the ring. And then we've got Shivani talking to him. But then we got Frozone's music interrupts. Sting's music interrupts. And we've got a little stare down with Sting. Oh, I forgot to ask you, what did you think of Darby?
The Darby promo?
Yeah,
it was good.
Anything you want to add about the Darby thing?
I actually liked that it was not just the traditional Darby, like setting himself on fire or going through a plate glass window or jumping out of a building. I liked it was a little different. It kind of proves that he's more than just the stunt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess you could say, like, there's more to his mind and his thinking. It's obvious he's a great wrestler and a great entertainer. So I'm glad that they can prove that he has some psychology to him, psychological aspects to him. I loved he was calling him out. He's snake in the grass, wolf in sheep's clothing. So it was cool. I liked it. More like that. I want more like that. I want more Darby like that.
All right, yeah, Darby. That was a good one too. So we've got Arn in the ring, and he's got the mic. He just says he walks up to Sting, and he says he just needs to get a little closer to see if this was real. And he's like, yeah, I'll let you do whatever. And so Arn leaves, and they mention, Sting and Arn have a very colorful and detailed history back with Arn in the Four Horsemen days. And Tony Schiavone's in the ring, and he hands the mic over to Sting and said he's gonna leg. But Sting says, nah. Tony, give me a hug. And they embrace. And I got goosebumps at this. Sting and Tony Schiavone in the ring for the first time in over 20 years. Not that I saw it 20 years ago, because I wasn't alive, because we were in high school. But so Sting and Tony hug, and he asks Schiavone to give everyone what they want. One of his classic "It's Sting" lines. And Tony does it. More goosebumps. One of the greatest lines ever. It's like Joey Styles, "Oh my God," and Jim Ross, "Slobberknocker." Those kind of lines. It's Tony Schiavone's "It's Sting." Great. So the fans chant, "This is awesome." Cody says, "Welcome back. He's been waiting to share a ring with you for a very long time." And Sting says, "Not here for you." Like, ooh, talk about dropping Cody 5 levels. Not here for you.
That was cold-blooded. That was cold-blooded.
Sting says, look, great to be back. Something looks familiar. Points at Darby up in the rafters. And he says he looks around. The animals are different but the same. And the Stinger is in the jungle on TNT once again. And Cody says, "Welcome back again." So Sting says, busts out his line, "The only thing for sure is nothing for sure. Except he is officially signed with AEW, and he plans on being around for a long time. And the way he chooses to play is his business." And he gives a big old smack on the back to Cody and a tight hug, puts his head up against Cody and says, "See you around, kid." And Sting exit, but not before he makes it snow on the way out. So, what'd you think of this?
This is an awesome promo. It had just the right amount of entertainment and authenticity to it, Yeah. Like you said, the moment with Tony was great. It was really authentic. Like, it's like, hey, this is real. Like, I'm glad I'm finally able to do this again. I could do it with somebody that I've become really close with over the years. And it just proves there's just so much more to it than just, cutting a good promo or, being good on the mic. Like, he can come across as authentic, and that was totally genuine. I really enjoyed that part, that bit, and the part with him talking down to Cody was perfect. Like, it was just so good. Cody came off as kind of a dick, which was kind of weird because I know he can. Cody plays that role depending on who he needs to be. He can be a dick or a good guy, but in this case, I didn't think he would be the dick. I thought he would be more accommodating towards Sting. So I thought that was odd. He would have been like, "Hey, man, thanks for the save,"
What's weird about it is, like, we heard from Sting, okay, but is he gonna wrestle? Is he gonna be a manager, an announcer, a cameraman, a referee? Like, I think Tony, somebody, was it Excalibur or Jim Ross, kind of like mentioned, like, well, he still didn't really say like what the hell he's doing here. So
more questions than answers. Yeah, that's true. But he's got to be an enigma, right?
Yeah.
For now.
That's cool. Yeah, it's 1 week.
It's got to be something to do with Darby, though, I'm guessing.
Yeah, maybe he'll become a mentor to Darby or some shit. But
that would be cool. So obviously, Darby turned away Taz, right? So
at this moment, after we've got Cody and Sting in the ring, I thought to myself, what does Team Taz think about this? And AEW grants my wish. And we hear from Team Taz. And Taz is running this down. Look at this crap. Look at this Sting and Cody. What about when Starks and Hobbs was beating the shit out of Cody and Darby last week? And now Hook is on Team Taz. That's pretty much all they said. Ricky got in a line or two. But Team Taz is always entertaining. You have anything
No,
to
Team
add?
Taz is great.
No.
I thought this was great, except for the fact, like, I guess Hook is going to become some kind of, like, I don't know, some kind of tool to be used between Cody and Taz now.
So
I don't know.
you
It's like
look.
it's just one of those things where they've already had enough history. Do we really need to introduce this other thing? Like, look, hey, guess what? Now Hook's with us again. And then what? He's going to betray Team Taz? I don't know. Whatever.
So if you saw that shot of Team Taz, which one of them would you have guessed was Taz's son? I would have guessed the Ricky Starks if I didn't know any of them.
Yeah, I would too.
Hook does not look like Taz at all, man. That's crazy.
That's true. Yeah.
But then again, Dominic doesn't really look a lot like Rey Mysterio.
True.
Well, we don't know because Rey Mysterio's wearing a mask all the time too. We've got up next. We've got Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr., the Varsity Blondes, right?
Yes.
Varsity Blondes, not Varsity Blues, like I said earlier. Varsity Blondes versus FTR. And what were your thoughts on this one?
It was pretty good.
There wasn't much to it.
Yeah, I didn't really take away too much from either side, I guess. I liked that the Varsity Blondes were able to hang enough, but half of the match was in picture.
That's true.
What I'm saying is, obviously they weren't going to win. I would have been shocked if they won. It would have made FTR look completely like garbage if they won against them, or if Varsity Blondes won against them. But it wasn't a complete squash match, so it did what it needed to do.
It felt like it kind of was. I didn't actually take much notes to this match because I figured FTR were just going to beat the crap out of them, and they kind of did. But one thing that they mentioned was Excalibur mentioned that Brian Pillman Jr.'s father was in a tag team that was called the Hollywood Blondes. Do you know who his partner was?
No.
So Brian Pillman and Steve Austin was the Hollywood Blondes. And I thought to myself, if Brian Pillman Jr. works really hard, he may have a long career. And while we don't know anything right now, it's not unfathomable that he could surpass his father one day. But for Griff Garrison to surpass Steve Austin, ooh. No offense to Griff Garrison, but that one's gonna be tough.
There's not many wrestlers who...
He might have a really, really great career, but, Steve Austin is...
an icon, a legend.
He's got to be... whether you want to say he's the greatest of all time or not, he's easily top 5.
Yeah, that's true. And he was the face of that whole generation, him and The Rock.
Top 5, probably top 1 or top 2. Or, a lot of people would say Steve Austin was the greatest of all time. So.
Griff's got some big shoes to fill.
Griff's got he's got some climbing to do. You never know. Maybe we'll go back to this in like 20 years from now and be like, holy crap, Griff Garrison surpassed Steve Austin.
Right after we graduate college in 20 years? Yeah.
Right after I cash in all my Bitcoin. Okay. Anyway, like I said, I didn't take much notes for this match. There was not really much to it. FTR beat him up. They kind of made a comeback, but then FTR beat him up some more, hit a Goodnight Express on Pillman Jr., and that was the end of the match. So what happened after the match was more notable. FTR's jaw-jacking with Jurassic Express, especially Marco's stunt. That's the end. So I'm hoping that there's a spike pile driver and a Goodnight Express in Marco's future. That would be the greatest thing. We got a what's up, buddy? How you doing? So Marvez is with the Hangman, and he says, so this is kind of stupid here. So Alex Marvez says, "Hey Hangman, you're in a 6-man tag match, but you don't have partners." It's like, why the hell did AEW book the match then? Anyway, you let that slide, and the match is Matt Hardy and Private Party versus Hangman, and Reynolds and Silver conveniently pop out from behind the bar, and Hangman asks them, "How long have you been there?" And what did they say? Like 7 hours or something?
Yeah, something ridiculous.
7 hours or 7 days or something like that. And Hangman at first says, "No, I'm not teaming up with you clowns." But he says, "No, okay, you know what? Fine, one match. You can be my partners, but I'm not joining the Dark Order. I'm not going to do the thing." But so next week's going to be Hangman and the Dark Order, Silver and Reynolds versus Matt Hardy and Private Party. Up next, we've got 10 versus Dustin Rhodes. Did you like this one?
It's okay.
So this was really weird for me.
Okay.
So this is the week after Winter is Coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got Kenny Omega, the new AEW champion, and he went to Impact Wrestling, and then they advertised Sting is gonna talk, and then they advertised that Shaq is gonna be on AEW, right?
Yeah.
So in theory, they're gonna attract a lot of new viewers. You're gonna get people who don't care about wrestling, but maybe are into the NBA, maybe are into Shaq, and they're like, "Oh wow, maybe I'll check out AEW." Then you've got people who haven't been watching wrestling for a long time, but now Sting is on. I'm gonna check out AEW Dynamite. Then you've got, oh crap, Kenny Omega's a new world champion. I'm gonna check out AEW Dynamite. Oh, he appeared on Impact Wrestling. I'm gonna check out AEW Dynamite. So of all the matches they could have put on today, they went with 10 versus Dustin Rhodes to be like, all these new viewers are going to watch AEW Dynamite, and then they're going to be like, holy crap, Sting was kind of a letdown, but that 10 versus Dustin, I'm going to watch again next week. What a
match.
And no offense to 10 or Dustin, but they're on the
mid-tier,
very low end
best.
of the pecking order, if you will, on the AEW roster. Why didn't they throw out? Why didn't I mean, they could have thrown out a Darby match here.
Yeah, no, that would have been
something,
great.
Like who's a Top Flight.
Actually, throw out a good point.
Throw out a Top Flight match, something crazy good. Throw out Pac.
Yeah. But you bring up a good point. When Darby hasn't defended the belt since he won it, has he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think he defended the belt since he won it.
Nothing wrong with 10 versus Dustin, and this was an okay match, but if you're trying to capture the new viewers who are checking out AEW Dynamite for the first time, this is not the match to put on.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I didn't think of it that way.
They could have put on Shawn Spears versus Chuck Taylor.
Shawn Spears versus Marco Stunt?
I would pay to see that. I would pay to see I would pay to see Shawn Spears hit Marco with that loaded glove.
Oh, you would?
Yeah, I would.
Oh, okay.
No doubt about it. I like Marco. If you're listening to the Beachblasters for the first time, I like Marco, but I really love seeing him get beat up more than I like him.
That's a weird way to put it, but
because he's irritating.
No, I agree with you. I like him as long as he stays out of matches that don't involve him.
Yeah, he's really irritating. I see a lot of myself in him, so I want to see him get beat up. Anyway,
I can see that.
10 versus Dustin. So it's kind of slow, but it was good. So somebody got a brogue kick from 10 in the audience. Who was that?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know who that wasn't, honestly.
Yeah, some guy kind of slapped.
Because there's so many wrestlers and there's so many wrestlers on the side now. I don't know half of them.
He just turned around and gave him a brogue kick. Then he gets back in the ring and gets a running bulldog by Dustin, and that's the end of the match. 1, 2, 3. Dustin wins. So after the match,
supposed to be some kind of killer 10. Anyways, but go ahead. Yeah.
After the match, Evil Uno comes out, and he's in a matching blue suit from Dustin's ring gear, which was notable. And he says, "We can't change the past, but we can improve the future," which is a very good line, actually.
Yeah.
And his Dustin's career has gone through 5 decades. And here he's alone. Here in AEW, he's the 3rd most important Rhodes. So I'm like, who? I was like, oh, Cody and Brandy.
Brandy, yeah.
And it's like, we can help you. And he will take so he says, will he take his rightful place as 7 of the Dark Order? And Tony Schiavone says, he doesn't want that number. So this is what I was telling you about earlier in the, before we started. This was the very, 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 very obscure reference. So you did not get it, right? So, a long, long time ago, after Dustin was Goldust, and he was gone from WWF, WWE for a little while, and he actually appeared in WCW for a little while. For actually 0 while, but they had like you know those little videos about the wrestlers, and he was called 7. And so his gimmick was he was like in a black trench coat, and he was all white like powder. Remember that movie Powder? Anyway, his face is completely white, and his gimmick was he would watch children sleep, and his name was 7.
I just looked this up right now. This is creepy as
So he never actually made it onto live TV as 7. But there's the obscure reference, is that Evil Uno says, take your place as 7 of the Dark Order. And Schiavone says he doesn't want that number.
What the hell? Oh my god. He should totally become 7 for the Dark Order and bring back this gimmick. Yes.
So Uno puts up the claw. And Dustin puts up the claw, and then he slaps Uno across the face. And the Dark Order are going to beat him up. But then Uno says, no. Anything you want to add on this one before we move on?
Uno is too good for this world.
I know. Like, God, I hated Uno when AEW first started.
I can't even tell you how much I was like, this guy's such a prick, right? This guy's such a slime ball.
He's one of the, I gotta say, he's probably like the biggest turnaround. Of everyone, to where either I liked them at first and now I don't like him, but I just couldn't stand Uno. He was like, get this guy off my TV. And now he's so good.
He is. He was a slime ball before. I really did not like him. And I guess that was the point. He's a heel, and he's this cult member, and just pure trash. But man, like ever since, I don't know, the last 6 months or so, he's been great. He's been killing it as this recruiter.
Yeah.
Damn. Nothing else to add other than that. I kind of want to see Dustin leave the Nightmare Family. I kind of want to see the Nightmare Family implode, honestly. I want to see Cody become part of the Four Horsemen.
What?
Yeah, with your favorite wrestler Shawn Spears and FTR.
What? Where did that come from?
You don't think that's kind of in the works there?
No.
Who else could be the fourth member of that?
They're not even talking about making the Four Horsemen.
Might.
I don't know. Anyways. So, this part was, I don't know. But this Schiavone is with Brandy and Shaq, and this is already.
I forgot this part was next.
This was already a letdown because they promised Shaq, but he's just in this pre-taped little segment. He's not actually at the Dynamite Zone or Daly's place.
Dynamite Zone.
Yeah, he's not there at the Dynamite Zone. He's just at like some kind of studio with Schiavone and Brandy Rhodes, and Shaq says he doesn't appreciate what Jade did to Brandy's arm. And Brandy says, well, I didn't appreciate it either. And Shaq says, he wants Jade and Brandy to wrestle, and that's all there is to it. He was just messing with Cody on Twitter. There's nothing going on. And they're like, okay, thank you. Thanks for appearing, Shaq. And Brandy shakes his hand, and then she starts to walk away. And then Shaq mumbles something. Do you know what he said here?
Something about, as long as your arm is in a sling, maybe you can watch Jade for some tips or something.
Okay. Anyway, he mumbled something I couldn't understand.
It was about Jade. It was about Brandy, like watching Jade to get better or something like that. It was a dig. It was a dig for sure.
I didn't understand what Shaq said, but Brandy was not having it. This was like the biggest insult she's ever heard in her life. She tosses a drink in Shaq's face, and in the most comedic Bugs Bunny manner, Shaq stares at the camera, all wet. And that's the end of the segment. Okay. Anything else you want to talk about this one? But didn't it seem like comedy? Like when she splashed the water in his face and he looks at the camera and he's all wet. And it should just went wah wah wah.
You could hear the sad trombone.
Isn't that what it looked like? That's what it looked like to me.
It was. I was laughing. It was funny, but I don't think it should have. I don't think it was supposed to come off that way.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a dumb segment, honestly.
So the big deal is Shaq is not gonna wrestle Cody now.
There's no way. I think the water made it so that he will wrestle.
You think
Don't
so?
You think? I think they're setting that up. It's like now I have to wrestle Cody because I got water thrown on me by your wife.
Okay. I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to this storyline, period. Any of this.
Storyline has not really, I don't know. So we've got the Inner Circle out, saying Judas, which is always, got an Inner Circle
accolade.
Yeah.
Oh, wannabe.
I said it.
What you're wearing.
What?
What is that anyways?
The shirt that says Yao, and there's like a dude going on it.
Some shirtless dude. I don't get it.
What? He's got a vest, got a jacket.
He's shirtless,
but he's whatever. But the Inner Circle is out. They talk about their problems. They're at each other's throat. Hager and Wardlow are still staring at each other, by the way. So
as they should.
MJF calls Ortiz his essay. MJF starts talking about Sammy. Sammy's hurt enough. He gets in MJF's face. MJF is like, "Oh, you were gonna throw in the towel, Sammy." And Jericho says, "You know, we talked about this before. I watched Dynamite. I saw MJF. He had the towel. He was gonna throw it in." MJF says, "You know, it just so happened I had a lot of sweat on my brow at that point." Ortiz interrupts, and Ortiz was the best on the mic in this segment. He says they are Wardlow and MJF are assets, but as human beings, that's a different story. Wardlow, you're awesome, never change. MJF, you're growing on me like a fungus, but you're growing on me. MJF is like, yeah, I'll take it, whatever. So Ortiz tells Sammy to shake his hand, and then he tells Sammy to be the better man and shake his hand because you're better than him and you know it. So shake his hand. And MJF kind of like, ooh, but he lets it go because he wants everybody to be on the same page. So Sammy thinks about it. He says, okay, he trusts Chris. But one more thing that happens, and he gets in MJF's face, and then he gets in Jericho's face, and he says, one more thing that happens, and I will quit the Inner Circle. And everything is cool. Jericho says everything is cool, and they're about to, that's going to be the end of it. But Hager interrupts, and he says, I've got a question. And he asks, this guy has been staring at me ever since he showed up in AEW. And Wardlow gets on the mic and he says, what are you talking about? You're the guy that's been staring at me the entire time I've been in AEW. So Jericho tells them to stop staring at each other. They both agree. So they both look straight ahead. But then they turn their eyes just a little bit and they start giving each other the side eye to stare each other down. This was awesome. This is awesome. So Jericho talks about being on the same page. MJF interrupts and starts talking about how he's gonna beat up Orange Cassidy and how he beat how Orange Cassidy beat Jericho twice. Chris says, Max, you're ruining it. And then they all do the middle finger salute. And so it looks like the Inner Circle is on the same page for now. But this is great.
We'll see. This is a great segment.
You got anything to add?
No, I just really love Hager and Wardlow still
staring
at each other's throat, even though they're supposedly buried the hatchet, I guess. I like that they actually addressed it, you know,
yeah. They finally addressed it after how long?
Yeah,
months.
The beginning. Yeah. It's great that it's not like something that's just hanging out there. Like they know this is happening, right? So I'm glad they addressed it. We'll see where this goes. I like the fact that they keeping it going, because I know we talked about it last week or the week before. We thought it was pretty early for them to be, breaking up.
Yeah.
So I like that they keeping it going. But now we have pretty much an ultimatum and pretty much the cracks on where this is all going to end. It's going to be something that's going to drive Sammy out for sure.
Yeah.
And maybe Ortiz
Jericho.
And Santana too. Maybe.
No, Jericho, I think it's going to be. I mean, everybody's predicting that this is going to be MJF takes over, and Sammy and Jericho are going to be the ones that get kicked out.
Oh wow!
But you never know. Who knows?
Yeah. Interesting.
We'll see. But it's definitely one of the more compelling storylines right now in AEW. So we've got Alex Marvez with FTR, and Cash is taking responsibility for the loss. Tully says it's not on him, and they're talking about how they're the 82 Ford Bronco and Mario Andretti is driving. I didn't get this reference, but they're all about championships and Fear the Revelation. This is okay, whatever. Anything you want to add?
I don't have anything bad to say about it, but this was a head scratching moment for me because Tully came in to take the bullet about how they lost. It's like, it wasn't your guys' fault. We're a team and I wasn't there. It's like, yeah, there's a reason you weren't there, because they were afraid you were going to interfere. And if that's the only way you guys can win, then it's a legitimate loss. I thought it was dumb. Like, I don't know. I just thought it was completely mischaracterized. I thought if he wanted to say maybe that he could have done more to help them in some way without actually being there, maybe, I don't know. But the very fact that he said that they lost because he wasn't there, because he couldn't interfere, was the very reason they lost. So it kind of takes away from them as anything more than a great team that can't get over the hump unless they have somebody to interfere.
That's true.
So yeah, weird. Yeah.
Okay. Next up, we've got Eddie Kingston and the Boys, the Butcher and the Blade, versus Lance Archer and the Lucha Boys, the Lucha Brothers. So as Lance Archer comes out, he jumps everybody. They all get into a brawl. Excalibur mentions that this is Lance's first tag team match in AEW. Penta, conveniently injured. And he is helped to the back. So now the story of the match is that it's a handicap match. Just Lance Archer and Rey Fenix against Eddie Kingston and the Butcher and the Blade. The Bunny interferes. They go to break. They don't go to break yet, but they isolate Phoenix. He eventually gets the hot tag into Archer, and he runs wild. Then they go to picture-in-picture. Back from the break, Archer is in trouble now. Jake interferes. Archer gets a tag into Phoenix. Then all of a sudden, there's a little bit of action. Then all of a sudden, Butcher and the Blade hit a neckbreaker combo on Phoenix, and that's the end of the match. That was pretty abrupt. I was like, oh, okay, that's the end of the match. I guess that's their finisher? I didn't really know.
But I've seen them do that before, but I didn't know it was their finisher either, I guess.
But what were your thoughts on the match?
The action was great. I thought it was odd that they took out Penta so early, but I guess it makes sense why. It gives some added, push on why Kingston and the Butcher and the Blade were the ones that ended up winning, because it was like a handicap match at that point. Because I would have put my money on the Lucha Brothers and Lance winning this if it was, even. But yeah, I don't know. Like you said, the ending came really abrupt. I don't know. Do you think maybe do you think Phoenix was hurt?
I don't think so.
It looked like he hit his head pretty hard when he did that dive on Kingston.
It's possible, but I didn't think so when I was watching the match. I mean, the real story is that Penta was not in the match. Because we still are not sure. Just like how Will Hobbs Will Hobbs was always late to save Darby and Cody. And then he eventually joined Team Taz. Penta has never actually touched B&B or Eddie Kingston. So.
He fought B&B today.
But yeah, that could have been staged.
Yeah, I don't think he's touched Kingston though. That's a good point. Yeah. I don't think he's laid his hands on Kingston once since this went down. So it's possible.
We don't know for sure where Penta's loyalty lies.
That'd be a long con, but maybe
is it with the Death Triangle? or is it with Eddie Kingston and the boys? Or they should call it, you know what they should call it? The Mad King family.
That's a good one.
Because that's his Eddie Kingston's nickname is the Mad King,
Mad
right?
King, right? Yeah.
If they call it the Mad King family, that's kind of a cool name, right?
Yeah, I like that. The Mad King family, Mad Kingdom.
Well, he's always talking about how like
family.
There's family, right? So the Mad King family. I don't know. But then we cut to the back, and Red Velvet is getting beat up by Nyla and Vicky Guerrero and Jade Cargill, and they're holding Brandy back, and they're ha-ha-hang! And Big Swole and Serena Deeb come to break it up, but then Ivelisse and Diamante come, and they're kind of jaw-jacking, so... Okay.
Yeah, this went nowhere. I don't get what this is about, but okay.
This whole Jade Cargill thing is not working for me.
She's not wrestled a single match as far as I can tell, unless she's done it in Dark, which again is not Dynamite. All she's done in Dynamite is beat up Brandy, beat up Red Velvet, and talk shit to Cody. This is like they claimed all over again.
It's one of those things too. Like, you know, when the like FTR, because we know that Cody and the Bucks, Kenny and Cody and Brandy are the executive VPs of AEW. So we know it, like when FTR comes out and they want to fight the Bucks, you know, it's like the Bucks are not going to fire them because FTR is one of the best tag teams in the world. And the Young Bucks have something to prove, right? Well, we got to beat these guys to prove that we're the best. So we're not going to fire FTR. But why doesn't Brandy just be like, hey, you know what, Jade Cargill? You're fired.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, you attacked me last week. You attacked another wrestler unprovoked this week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. That's true. That's true.
Like,
there's absolutely no reason for any of this.
Will AEW all of a sudden drop down to 3 viewers if Jade Cargill is not on the show anymore? No, right? Like, they're not. Would they actually ever miss anything? So, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. And then, like, it doesn't really feel like, why would Nyla just all of a sudden be Cargill's crony? She's a former AEW Women's Champion. Why is all of a sudden she's now just Jade Cargill's like lackey? I don't get it. It's a step down for Nyla, if you ask me. But up next,
Agreed.
But you know what? I won't complain because it's a AEW Women's storyline going on. So I will not complain.
What a storyline it is.
And up next, we've got Abaddon. Hell yeah. Abaddon versus Tesha Price. And Abaddon pretty much beats the crap out of her. She hits Everything is Evil, even though I don't know what that move is. Then she hits kind of a neck breaker with the opponent's legs draping over her legs and gets the win with that move. They didn't really name it or call it anything. Abaddon beats the crap out of Tesha more. So Hikaru Shida's music hits and she comes out with the kendo stick. And just like that scene in Star Wars when Luke Skywalker stabs and slices Darth Vader when he's unarmed with that lightsaber, Hikaru Shida whacks Abaddon in the head with the kendo stick like all good heroes do. Attacks an unarmed person, and then she helps Tesha get out of the ring. And then Abaddon rises like the Undertaker. She's not hurt by the kendo stick. And Shida is kind of scared of her and points the kendo stick at Abaddon. And they mentioned that Abaddon is the number 5 contender. So, a lot of weirdness all around. Your thoughts, my friend?
I like that. I like that Shida came out and just whacked Abaddon. I mean, that was the whole bit right there. She came out, whacked Abaddon, saved Tesha, and Abaddon rose, and then they announced she's a fifth seed.
Yes.
It was so weird. I mean, it did what it needed to do. I get that Abaddon was going to crush this girl because I've never heard of her till now.
Can you pull it up right now real quick since I've got all the stream stuff going on? What is the rankings for the AEW women's division?
Let's find out.
I gotta
Who's
know.
number 1?
I mean, neither one. Number 1's got to be either Britt or Nyla. I'm thinking, or Serena Deeb.
Big Swole is number 1.
Big Swole. Didn't she lose to Britt recently?
Yeah. Britt's not even in the top 5.
Britt is not in the top 5?
So here we go.
Okay.
Obviously, Shida's champion. Number 1 is Big Swole. Let me make sure this is this is today. Big Swole is number 1. Nyla Rose is number 2. Serena Deeb is number 3.
Okay.
This is where it's gonna get funny. Penelope Ford is number 4. Yeah.
She must be racking up those wins on Dark then.
She's 13-8, so I guess. And Abaddon is number 5. Yeah.
They couldn't just fudge the numbers and have Abaddon at above Penelope.
Yeah.
Isn't Abaddon like 13-1 or something? Or something? What's her record?
5-1.
5-1. So why is Penelope higher? She's got a barely like 13-8. That's like a 66% win rate.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Like I get Nyla and Serena Deeb. I don't get Big Swole up there, and I don't get why Britt is not even in the top 5.
Yeah, I can't see where, because you can't see their records if they're not in the top contendership, right? I'm sure you can find it somewhere else, but it's not here, right?
I don't think they have like a. I don't think. You know what? I don't know, but it's weird. I don't understand why they just don't put Abaddon higher, especially over Penelope Ford, who probably has wrestled like once or twice on Dynamite, maybe. Well, Abaddon hasn't really either, but Abaddon's awesome. So whatevs. So we've got moving on. We've got Dasha in the back with Jericho in the inner circle, and they say they're all on the same page, and they're gonna join MJF and Wardlow at ringside to make sure MJF beats that son of a bitch, Orange Cassidy. And the inner circle will win, and that's a guarantee. And at this moment, I was like, ooh, guarantees don't really go very well in pro wrestling, but we'll see how that turns out. So you got anything you want to add about that real quick while you're looking up the other AEW rankings?
Which none of them make sense, but yeah, we'll get to that another time, I guess. But I got nothing else to add.
Okay.
Let's get to the match.
So Kenny Omega arrives via helicopter. He broke. They mentioned that he broke the gentleman's agreement last week, and his some of the things they announce is he's the first wrestler to hold tag team and world championships in AEW. He's the first to hold 2 different titles in AEW. He's the first to beat Jon Moxley. He's the first AEW wrestler to appear on Impact, and he got from Impact to AEW by flying over North Carolina. So he is out, and him and Don Callis come in a obviously clipped helicopter landing.
Oh, okay. So we got to talk about this, right?
You go for it.
So the helicopter lands, right?
Wait. They showed a scene where the helicopter was like 1,000 feet in the air, right?
Yes.
And then within 2 seconds, they landed.
Yeah. Okay. That's a pretty fast descent, but all right. Like you said, it was clipped. Kenny comes out of the passenger seat, and unless I'm wrong, I am 99% sure that's a 2-seater helicopter.
Yeah,
right?
It is. That was a small helicopter.
Yeah. So they do a close-up of Kenny, right? He's just looking in the camera. He doesn't really say anything. And then they pan back to the helicopter, and Don Callis is now coming out of the passenger seat. I was like, that's the stupidest thing. It's like, are you telling me that Don Callis was
the pilot?
He was not the pilot. The pilot was still in the helicopter. It would have made more sense if he was the pilot. Then they could have maybe, I don't know. Then they could have maybe like brushed that away. But it would have been fine if like Callis was already there. Like, I'm glad you made it, Kenny. Now let's get to the show. So dumb.
I'm pretty sure AEW knew. I think they were in on the joke. It's like, we're gonna, I think they were in on the joke on this one.
I hope so. Hey, we couldn't contract a 4-seat helicopter. We'll just film it twice.
So they finally get to the ring. Don Callis says, Tony Khan, you invited me. You should have seen this coming, and you got screwed. Well, this is your first lesson. Welcome to pro wrestling. He says this has been the biggest screw job since Montreal, but the stakes were higher this time. I beg to differ. So they say that Kenny was on Impact, and this was years in the making, since Kenny was 10 years old. And 3 years ago, they changed wrestling with Jericho and Omega at the Tokyo Dome. And so they essentially created AEW. And you can't steal what you create. That's also not true. And he said, you guys wanted the best bout machine. You wanted the 7-star Omega. Well, here, you got him. And Kenny Omega's on the mic, and he says he's waited for over a year while they plotted and planned. Everything pales to what he's holding now, the most prestigious title in pro wrestling. And John, he everybody was easy to trick except for John. But John, you fell for it. And yeah, he hit him with the microphone, but no one kicks out of the one-wing angel. He says there's more surprises to come. But Don Callis says, no, don't tell him yet. And some people, Don Callis is talking now. He says that some people make matches, some people make money, but Kenny makes history. And finally, he tells Kenny to give him the line that everybody's waiting for. So finally, I think this is the first time on Dynamite anyway that Kenny does the I bid you adieu, goodbye, and good night, bang. And that's the end of that segment. So, you want to add anything on this one?
It was fine. So Impact set up way more time for them to basically talk about what they did on Dynamite. So it made more sense, I guess, when I watched Impact yesterday. But one thing I will say about what they talked about on Dynamite that they did not, that they talked about Impact that they did not talk about on Dynamite tonight was the fact that there was a little wheeling and dealing kind of revisionist history from Don Callis on Impact that they did not bring in Dynamite today. Because he said that when the Impact interviewer was like, hey, do you think this win tarnishes your, legacy at all, Kenny? And Kenny's like, no, even before Kenny could speak, Don said something along the fact that, John Moxley attacked me. So Kenny did what he needed to do to win. Oh, okay. So wait a minute. I thought it was part of the plan, but okay. He did what he needed to do to win. He saw the mic, so he hit John Moxley conveniently. I don't know.
On Impact, did they address why when John Moxley hit him, he blew up into flowers?
No, they did not. That would have been awesome, but they did not. Okay. But they didn't bring that up on Dynamite, which I was kind of hoping for, because I wanted them to try and do a little revisionist history and make us think like, hey, maybe it was just Kenny defending his father figure. So
we've got the lineup for next week. We've got Cody versus Angelico. We've got Hangman and the Dark Order versus Hardy Party, is Matt Hardy and Private Party. So we've got the Acclaimed versus SCU, Ivelisse and Diamante versus Serena Deeb and Big Swole. And they announced 3 special holiday shows. There's going to be like a holiday show coming up right before Christmas and 2 weeks of New Year's Bash. And one of them has commentary by Jericho. And the second week has a special appearance by Snoop Dogg. I'm looking more forward to the Jericho. And obviously the whole, the Snoop Dogg appearance on the second show is to build up the premiere of that the big show or whatever the hell they're calling it.
Wasn't that announced like 6 months ago already?
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
Why haven't they aired it by now?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what they're holding out for. Yeah.
Are all like game show, like it looks kind of like a game show, right? Are all game shows like that where they're taped like that far in advance?
I don't know.
Is it Jeopardy like live?
No, Jeopardy's taped way in advance. Yeah.
Really?
Months in advance, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And what they'll do is they'll tape like how do I say it? They'll tape like 4 or 5 episodes a day, and so they'll tape like a whole month's worth of episodes in a week. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see. You know what game show I always wanted to be on was Press Your Luck.
I'm not too familiar with that game. Press Your Luck.
Oh my
Must
god.
Suck.
Oh my god.
I figured you'd want to be on. This. Oh yeah.
Well, you wanted to. Wipeout. Didn't you want to be on like Guts?
Hell yeah. Press Your Luck. Didn't some guy like game the system on this?
He like cheated.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't. I guess
he didn't cheat.
It's cheating. It's kind of cheating, but it's kind of not. He just watched the pattern of the lights close enough to where he figured out the pattern, And that's he just like, he knew when to press the button.
Because it was not random, right?
So yeah. At the time it wasn't random because I guess they figured everyone was too dumb to realize that, hey, there's a pattern here going on.
There's only one sequence. If you watch it long enough, you'll figure out the whole sequence. Yeah.
Up next, though, we've got the Dynamite ring match: MJF versus Orange Cassidy, and MJF jumps Orange at the bell. He breaks the shades like a good old bad guy. MJF beats him up until Orange counters with Slumdog Millionaire. So the big storyline part of this match is Orange tries the orange punch on the apron, but he hits the steel post. And then MJF gives him an apron powerbomb. So the story here is that Orange's right hand is injured and he can't hit the orange punch with as much power as he normally does. MJF gets in Trent's face and dares him to hit him. But of course, Trent doesn't, because if he did, it would be a DQ and MJF would win the match. Orange gets mugged by the Inner Circle. Sammy. Speaking of the Slammies, it's coming back, but Sammy slams Orange into the post, and we go to picture-in-picture. Then back from the break, we've got Orange Cassidy with some momentum. He hits a tope suicida. It's a swinging DDT, then a diving DDT. And then I noticed that there were some other guys who are now in Orange Cassidy's side of the ring to even up the odds. So it's Top Flight, Varsity... I keep writing Varsity Blues in my notes. Varsity Blondes. And Brandon Cutler, who I had no idea. He looks like the Eggman from the old Batman TV show. The Adam West Batman TV show. Apparently
Eggman.
Or is it some kind of like egg?
Oh, you're right. Actually, yeah.
What is it called?
This guy is creepy. Egghead.
Okay. So anyway, like apparently I know he got like some kind of gimmick change, right? Brandon Cutler.
Yeah, he's like the D&D guy now.
So he looks all weird, but I had no idea that was him until Excalibur said that was Brandon Cutler. And just by process of elimination, I was like, well, that's not Top Flight or Varsity Blondes. Anyway, Orange does a springboard senton onto the Inner Circle. That one was really cool. Ortiz has the baseball sock ready. Jericho has the bat. The best friends are telling the ref, oh, look at it, So MJF spikes Orange with the Heat Seeker. Orange gets his feet on the ropes, and the best friends snitches on that, tells Bryce Renberg that his foot is on the rope. MJF throws the bat at so MJF gets the bat. He throws it at Cassidy and falls down, hoping that Bryce Renberg will turn around and see that MJF is down on the ground and Orange Cat by the bat. But Orange Cassidy puts his hands in his pocket. And then MJF gets fed up. He stands up and he grabs the bat. And then Orange Cassidy goes down. And the ref turns around. And he's like, oh, it looks like he's going to disqualify MJF. But then he doesn't. And then Orange Cassidy hits a beach break for 2. And then Orange Cassidy hits an orange punch and gets 2. Okay. And then he hits another orange punch. And Wardlow puts MJF's foot on the rope. And then the Inner Circle and the guys on the outside fight. Miro sneaks into the ring. He clotheslines Orange Cassidy. And this is enough for MJF to get the pin. And MJF, for the second year in a row, wins the Diamond Ring. And then the best sore losers go out and attack Miro and Kip, but they get taken away. And then Miro starts beating up security guards. He throws one of them off the stage onto the floor.
Yeah.
That was brutal.
That was crazy.
That was brutal. And in the line of the night, Tony Schiavone says, I hope that guy's family is not watching.
That's not funny. I shouldn't be laughing at that.
Yeah, but it's a good line of the night.
That's a good line of the night. That's true.
So MJF has the ring. They show a close-up of MJF with the ring. He says he beat him clean, smack dab in the ring. And that's the end of AEW Dynamite. But another big match loss in the L column Cassidy. For Orange Cassidy. And you had some choice words before we started. So I'm going to hand it over to you, and you go for it.
So, like we talked about at the beginning, I didn't have so much a problem with this match. I honestly thought Orange should have won. I think this is dumb that they keep just booking him in these big matches for him to lose. I get that he lost by interference, but the interference had to have been the dumbest way for this match to end. Because as we discussed earlier, Miro is the one who ends up costing Orange the match. Okay, I know Miro has a beef with Orange, and he has a beef with the Best Friends. But Miro also has a beef with the Inner Circle, MJF in particular, because he was the one that led the effort to kick him out of the Battle Royale last week for this freaking diamond ring that they're wrestling for right now. He should be in there wrestling Orange, if anybody. Why is he helping the Inner Circle? It makes no sense. Like, I mean, can he only process one feud at a time? Because if that's the case, those guys were the ones that screwed him out of the biggest prize, right? That could have been his diamond ring. I was like, when I saw him come out, I was like, are you
MJF,
shitting me?
Sammy, and Wardlow took him out.
Yeah. When I saw him come out, I was like, you got to be shitting me. If he caught, and you're thinking all this in as it's happening in real time. So by the time I thought, it's like, he better not be just attacking Orange. He attacked Orange and then dug out. I was like, what? I was like, he should be attacking MJF too. I don't know. I thought that was dumb. I'm more pissed that Orange lost this match because they just keep booking him for these big matches for him to lose.
Yeah.
But I'm right up there, right next to it is the fact that they booked Miro to be the decider here when it makes no sense after the events of last week. So yeah, it might as well have been John Moxley that came out and attacked Orange Cassidy, So
yeah.
All
but
right,
of course, like
me,
my big problem was, of course, the Best Friends, the supposed good guys. Of course, they do have a legit reason because Miro did cost Orange Cassidy the match, but they didn't know that because they were fighting the Inner Circle. So they just saw Miro and Kip Sabian outside of the ring and decided to attack them like big sore losers. I still don't understand how the Best Friends are good guys. I mean, they were justified because Miro did in fact cost Orange the match, but they didn't know that. So, yeah. If anybody can explain to me why the Best Friends are the good guys in this, please send me a message. Or like, comment, subscribe. Because I don't get it. But overall, I'm okay. Dynamite. Like, I don't think I was upset. I don't think I was upset as you about the finish.
We'll see where it goes. I really don't want them to keep on booking Orange Cassidy unless they have a clear goal or a clear story, a clear path for him, I guess. Anything, because every time they book him to lose in these big matches, it's just so deflating,
It is. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
He's the guy that beat Jericho twice. This is the same guy that beat Jericho twice because he's lost every TNT Championship match he's had, which is 3 now. He's lost the Diamond Ring. Right? He's lost every match that matters other than the Jericho ones.
He lost to Brody, he tied with Cody, then he lost to Cody, and now he's lost to MJF. So he's just the guy who can't get it done unless that's going to be his gimmick.
He's like the Eli Manning Giants, right? They could always beat the Patriots, but that's it. They could never make
that at all.
Yeah.
But they totally won. But they beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. So they were the champions.
It's like Orange Cassidy is the Giants because he can beat Jericho, who's the great. Yeah,
Orange has never won a championship. It's not like that at all.
I guess what I'm saying is he can beat
he's more like the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah,
he can get to the dance, but he doesn't win.
Yeah, I was looking at it like he could beat Jericho, who was like the equivalent of the Patriots. Obviously, he wasn't the champion at the time, but he can beat him twice. But he can't do any of these other things. So, anyways. We'll see.
I like your analogy as much as a Gary Tanita English presentation in the 9th grade.
Yeah. Wow. I don't even know where to go with that. Like anybody's gonna know.
I didn't like it one iota.
Yeah. I didn't like you equating it to a Gary Tanita English presentation one iota either.
Okay.
And neither is our audience gonna have any clue what the hell you're talking about.
Oh, Gary Tanita is.
Oh, because I'm sure he's one of the viewers, our followers.
How do you know he's not?
Oh, man.
Oh. Anyway.
All right. I think that wraps it up from my end.
Anyway, that's another week for us. We went about like an hour, 12 minutes. More than half the actual length of AEW Dynamite, us talking crap about it.
Yeah.
But yeah. We'll be talking more crap about it next week. So please join us again. Thanks for hanging out.
All right. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Good luck.
Peace out.
Stay safe, and we'll catch you next time.